It might be helpful for those of you who might have heard of co-registration but don't know exactly how it works and how it could generate so many opt-ins. We give you just a quick primer on co-registration. And this particular example, if you're familiar with the Mercury News in the Bay Area, a pretty popular newspaper, has an online presence. You probably signed up for USA Today, CNN, Wall Street Journal, Mercury News to get information, to get articles sent to you on certain topics, and they have a registration process for that. So quite often you'll get that registration form, you'll enter all your information because they want everything, name, rank, serial number. And in the co-registration process, what happens is they'll send that information, they'll capture that data, then hit you on the back end with another another set of requests.
So this is the second page right here.
Yeah,
page 1 and then page 2. Oh, and then on page 2, they'll ask you if you would also like to get information on other products or services. If you sign up for like a Hotmail account, they have all these different newsletters that you can sign up for. Every website does it in a different way, but it's all co-registration. And then we'll show you what to look for when later on when you're actually going to a website.
Here, has anyone seen this where there's a little, are you interested in this extra information, oh, by the way? And you got to check the box and request that. Now, the beauty is, on the first page, they've already captured all your data. On the second page, they're just taking that same data and passing that to that particular company, in this case, widget.com. It's a beautiful thing. And there are companies that are collecting millions of these opt-ins every day.
A day, yeah.
So in terms of the universe of traffic that's out there, there's a whole other world out there that you're not familiar with if you're not involved in the co-registration space.
And there's no competition for it because it doesn't really matter who else is on there. It's not like you're paying. There's just no competition really for it.
So what happens then is that the data goes from that collection and then subscription mechanism, and a process called scrubbing occurs where the data might be.
Well, basically what they do is, like, if you say you live in California but you put like a New York zip code, they'll scrub it for you. They'll just verify basically that it's legitimate. And if they don't do that right away, like real time when they post it, then you have a chance to do it later on. Like if you get a bunch of bogus information, you can send it back and they'll.
Now, if you're used to doing direct mail, a lot of people are used to doing this kind of thing all the time with their lead lists. They bump them against the postal service, make sure there's deliverability, make sure there's not been a change of address and all that before you send and mail an expensive package. And this is doing something very similar to it online. So that what you wind up with is the actual record, which is, this is a full record.
Right. They call it a record. The companies call it a record. So if you ever call them up, like you want to speak the lingo, just say, I need 1,000 records a day, 10,000 records a day, or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And then a record is basically, it can depend. We'll go into that a little bit later, right?
The types of records that are available.
We call it a lead. They call it, or like a lead or an opt-in, and they call it a record.
And from there, it's going to come to you, hopefully, and many companies use this for different various reasons. We're going to focus on converting that into a bona fide customer.
Right.
So
here's an example. We actually took, we downloaded from one of my autoresponders last night, and we just put together, like, I think this one right here, I got 20 records or 20 leads in like 30 seconds. Or 60 seconds.
60 seconds.
And this happens like all day long. Now it fluctuates a little bit. If you do the math on that, it ends up being like 28,000 opt-ins a day. But I really didn't get that many. I only got like 9,000 to 10,000 a day because it, in the evenings it kind of slows down.
It's only 10,000 a day.
Yeah, only. But it'll fluctuate depending on what you decide to do. If you're only getting 100 a day or 1,000, whatever, it'll. So just so you know, it was about 10,000 opt-ins a day just for this campaign. I get their name, their address, their state, and everything. We blurred out their email address, and then if you want to pay more and stuff, you can get their phone number. There's all kinds of different ways that you can do it, or you can even do it just name and email. But we'll get to that a little bit later.
Yeah.
So there's just an example of what it looks like.
And notice, the full record, which is incredible. If you think about the traffic you get off of Google, whether it's AdWords or natural search, you're getting a virtual visitor to your site. It's really, you're left to your own devices to try to get that person to opt in and give you more information. And quite often you'll present a squeeze page, where you get the first name and email address if you're lucky. Sometimes if you like, I know Agora has a model where they just get the email address only because they get higher opt-ins that way. In this case, you're getting a full record, and so you have the ability, you're not getting like 5, 10, 20% opt-ins on a squeeze page, you're getting the full data. You can go in and then hit that person with messages again and again and again.
Right. It's a huge benefit. You're guaranteed the opt-in. You get 100% opt-in.
It's a beautiful thing. So how are co-registration used generally?
Right. There's a bunch of different ways that they're used. Like when I first got started doing this, GM was doing a really big campaign at the same time. And so they were just doing it for brand awareness. Like they had an ad right next to mine, which made me look really good. It's like Brock's little company, big company, and they had I was just right in the middle of all these major corporations, so it made my company look really good. But they were just using it for brand awareness. I even talked to one of my brokers. He's like, "Yeah, they're insane. They're doing this multi-million-dollar campaign. They don't even want the email addresses."
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, "Well, I'll take them." Yeah, that didn't work.
I remember. Anyone use Netflix? Okay, so I remember when Netflix did their big launch, and they also had a pretty big co-registration.
Yeah, they do.
To create product visibility in the marketplace very quickly.